and it was ignored because that, so many people had lack of knowledge of it. So many people were in denial and didn't believe or even claim to be that, this is something that an individual can be going through. But you know what? Mental health is real. Single motherhood is real. Not having support around you is real. So I thank you, each and every one of you, for joining on this Kingdom Move call that happens every Saturday at 1 p.m. I'm currently recording for YouTube, and I'm also here on the conference call that, for those of you here on YouTube, can always call in on Saturdays at 605-313-5702. The access code is 593043 #. So make sure you join us on every Saturday, because we talk about topics like these, topics that can help each and every one of us to figure out how we can support another single mother that are not directly at the stages that we are in our lives, or even to help to improve ourselves and to dig ourselves out of holes, and to dig ourselves out of depression, or dig ourselves out of sleep deprivations and things like that, which are just some of the things that we go through as single mothers. Now today I'm talking about the 6 mental health challenges single mothers face. And as I said, we face a lot of stress. We face a lot of stigma. We have to deal with a lot of things coming from so many different angles, and the burden is often upon us. And single parents on a whole have it very challenging. But stats show that single fathers are more likely to have less effects on their mental health than single mothers do, because what do the fathers do? They always outsource. They're always finding someone, a mother, a grandparent, another female who they tend to be shacking up with to help them to raise their children or their child. But as single mothers, we internalize, we figure it out. We don't outsource, and even if we do, it's not always there. The battle and the fight is often against us, because we're expected to be strong, right? So a lot of people don't really know how to help mothers, how to help people in general, much less a single mother. So often we get blamed for a situation, and regardless if we are, we have become a single parent by choice or by circumstance, it's something that we have to live with, right? So, as I posted on my Instagram, which is at smile.empress, for those of you who are not following me, smile.empress on Instagram, I posted, like, in Canada, nearly half of single mothers live close to, at, or below the poverty line. And my goal is to help you to get out of a poverty mindset. My goal is, because we are not poor, we have the money to do so many things. It's just needs to be resourceful, and we need to prioritize our lives. So so many of us don't have the knowledge of that, or have access to tools, or even know that certain things and resources are available. So this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here, to listen, to be an ear, to be a friend, to hold your hands, and to see how I can be of help to those other single mothers, because I didn't have that help. I didn't have that. I had to go out and find the knowledge for myself. I had to go out and find the information for myself, so that I can help myself, so that I don't I don't continue falling in this stigma, right? So we deal with financial stress, and this is it's so easy for us to lead to this, and lead down to this road. And what it does is lead us down to financial distress, right? Because we are not applying many things in our life, like financial management, or things in that nature. So I'm going to give you some solutions after I've talked to you about the 6 steps. But before I do all of that, I want to welcome each and every one of you. I thank you for sharing time and space with me. I thank you for just being present. I thank you for acknowledging that, there is a chance that you may need to gain more knowledge and more information, so that you can no longer be suppressed. I thank you for just being, accountable for yourself and for your situation and your circumstance enough to say, what, maybe I do need to, collaborate. I do need to connect, and find some other support outside of what I am currently getting. We can never use it more than enough support. We can always use a lot of support. So I commend you and I appreciate you. I always, have to be in an attitude of gratitude, and that is why I'm here. Also, I just always have to stay positive, and that's something that we have to talk about, our mindset, because our mindset in whatever situation or circumstance that we go through, it makes a complete difference, right? So, one of the things, let's talk about some housekeeping. Like I said, I do offer, I offer some support and programs. I help with budgeting to try to help you to get out of your situation, to build. I help you to learn how to use what's in your hands. I help you to, for the mamas who want to, use what's in their hands in terms of turning their passion into purpose, in terms of, creating and starting small businesses, or even a line of different multiple streams of income, so you can build legacies for your legacies. And when I say your legacies, I'm referring to our children. Our children are our legacies. Our children are here to carry on our generation, and we don't want to be bonded, and we don't want to continue the generation of generational curse or generational mental illness and generational mental health along that generation. We want to cut it off. I myself am a chain breaker. I myself have broken the chain of poverty on my bloodline, and henceforth, going forward, I command and I decree and I declare that, my children will not experience that, not mentally, not physically, not emotionally, because I've equipped them with the tools and how to level up. I've equipped them with the tools and positioned them in ways that they are able to continue, in the future, and no longer have to deal with lack. Yes, life happens, and life often happens to many of us, but you know what? That doesn't mean that that we have to feel it in the financial area. And even in common law or relationships where people are married, one of the common problems that causes divorce or separation is financial issues. And can you imagine us as single parents dealing with the financial issues, or the lack of financial support that we have in our lives, that has been affecting us, and what it does, there is no one there to help to separate us from it, right? So what we go through is, the emotional anguish of it, because what are we going to do? Give up on our children? Give up on it? No, we're going to have to find ways on how to make it happen. So instead of dwelling in the problems, we want to focus on the solution. There is another thing that I do every so often, not every so often, on a daily basis, and I read a devotional book. It's one of the many things that I implement in my life, just to have sanity, just to have a clear mind, just to have a positive outlook of life. And I read devotion. This devotion that I'm reading this year is from Joyce Myers, which has a really good book when it comes to battlefield of the mind, because our mind is where it all starts. So I do recommend that you go and read that book. I'm not getting anything from it. It's just a book that I like to read. It's a book that I have read to help me out of the very dark places that I'm coming from. And maybe one day I will be able to share that with you. And if you follow me or watch any of my other videos, I do share snippets of places that, of things that I've gone through, things that I've rised above from, like depression and self-deflect and self-sabotage, and just, suicidal thoughts and attempts and things in that nature. So I understand where what we can experience and where we're coming from. I do understand that it's a lot of pressure that is upon us, and guess what? Not dealing with it will continue to lead us down that road of wanting to harm ourselves and no longer wanting to be around. So it's time to take back our power. It's time to rule our kingdom. It's time to really focus on the solution, focus on the goal, focus on the long plan and the journey, not so much what the effect of it and what's happening right now, but work on ways, be intentional and working on the ways that you need. So sorry if that was a little long-winded, but today, June 1st, the title is so befitting, and I didn't plan this, guys. I haven't even read it for the day as yet. Time has gone. But this is what it says: have a new mindset. And that is the title. Now, the scripture that it comes from is Psalms 51:10. It says, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right, preserving and steadfast spirit within me. I'll read that again. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right, persevering and steadfast spirit within me. That's Psalms 51:10. Now, let me tell you, this is something that I will always pray, and I've always prayed as I was growing up, with all the things that I was going through and dealing with, and the circumstances that I found myself in. There's one prayer that I always say: Lord, create in me a pure heart. I will need a heart like thine. I need a heart like yours, because so many of our hearts can be hardened and numbed and turned to the negative, because we're dealing with so much. So it's so hard to just still love in all of that. So one of the things I just had to do, pray, because prayer helps and heals all wounds. I believe. That is my belief. I don't know what your belief is, but that is my belief. I hold on to prayer. I hold on to praise. I hold on to worship, because praise confuses the enemy. When you're walking around and you're smiling, even when the bills are due, and you're smiling when you're going through separation, and you're smiling and you're singing, even when your child is going through health issues, or you are going through health issues, that's confusion to people around you, much less the confusion to the enemy, the seen and the unseen. Our fight is not always about flesh and blood, but it is of rulers and principalities and spirits that that are unseen. And that is just my belief. When you're connected to me, we're going to be talking about the word. We're going to be talking about our spiritual growth, because it starts with our spiritual growth. We cannot be unbalanced. We have to be balanced when it comes to the growth in our spirituality, when it comes to the growth in our finances, when it comes to the growth with our mindset and our emotional. We need a full growth in all aspects. So here's the paragraph that comes with that. We set ourselves up either for misery or for joy by the mindset that we have towards the things in our life. Mindsets are the pattern in which our mind normally operates towards a certain determination. For example, when we look at our schedule today, it may seem that there is far too much to do. But if we choose the mindset that God will help us through it, we will enjoy watching how everything falls into place. Refuse to dread what must be done. Greet the day with a right attitude and a thankful heart that you have a Savior who is ready to rescue you from more than you can handle. Enjoy yourself and say, I refuse to live in dread. I am going to enjoy my life today. And if you follow me, if you're attached to me and assigned to me and aligned with me, you know that I am with affirmations, and I believe in the power of the word I am and what comes after that. And I do pray that you guys implement these things into your life. Create your affirmations or your declaration. Cling on to somebody else's affirmations and declarations, and use that into your life on a daily basis. When you wake up in the morning, regardless of your circumstance, remember to say, I love my life. My life is amazing. I'm excited about today. And you command your day, and you take on your day, and you push through, because our mind is so powerful, whether it's, barking upon the negative or it's barking upon the positive. So you want to continuously and intentionally be a woman of purpose, and you want to really intentionally focus on the positive. So now let's get into our word today. Let's get into our six things that the six mental health challenges that single mothers face, right? That is so overlooked. sleep was number one. Sleep is one of the easiest thing that we are all often, neglectful of. Why we are, as single mothers, we have to work those extra jobs. We have to do those overtime and those double jobs, and work ourselves, so that we can either recreate or replace the income that we're lacking from the support that we're getting from, the other parent. Or, if you're lucky to be, or if you're blessed enough to have that financial support, then congratulations. I'm happy for you. You just need to learn how to manage it so that you don't find yourself, in the event that is no longer around, then you have a safety net, so to speak, that you can always go back on. So good financial management is definitely key to that. But number one is sleep deprivation. We often lack sleep, and sleep is, we need sleep for the body. This is how the body heals. This, having resting our body from our day to day is something that, rejuvenates us. It's something that gives us the strength to go by day to day. That again, like I said, it heals us, right? Number two is lack of self-care. So often we put ourselves aside. We do not care for ourselves the way we are supposed to care for ourselves, because we're so busy. If you have 1, 2, 3 or more children and you're a single mother out there, then guess what is it that you're doing? You're lacking out on yourself. You're neglecting the time that you need for yourself to recoup or reboot throughout the day. And there's so many ways that you can implement that into your life. So often we use the saying that, oh, I have no time. But yes, there is 24 hours in the day. It's about prioritizing. It's about finding ways in between little times to just stay still and to be in the present, and to understand what it is that understand where you are, embrace that moment, and just take time to breathe, implement certain things throughout the week, and put that on your schedule for yourself to say, what, I enjoy this, so I'm going to start putting this into my schedule daily. It could be as little as going out for a walk, going to enjoy. It's the weather is warm now. Going outside to go enjoy some ice cream. Going to sit, by the pool, or you can go as far as getting your nails done and get a facial, or just doing things that you enjoy. Buy yourself a flower and just enjoy that little moment. It can be very inexpensive, or it can be expensive. It's up to you. It's your lifestyle. You know what you enjoy. Just figure out what you want to do and make it a regular. Have a little fix up Friday where you go get your hair done, or you go get your makeup did, or you get your nails done, right? Have something during the week or on a Sunday. Make Sunday your self-care Sunday. Have your little, foot massager at the house, or you can do a little mani-pedi with your children, which often I like to do. 1, it's enjoyable. 2, it's bonding with them. And 3, at the end of the day, you looking good, doing the same thing you would go and pay money for. You can do it at home and enjoy, spend a little time in it, right? So number 1, sleep deprivation. Number 2, lack of self-care. These are the things that definitely can lead to our mental health. We need a good mental health. It can lead to, the lack of it can lead us to stray and lead us to dealing with a lot of mental health illnesses, and it can be the birth of so many things like depression or anxiety, because you're not giving yourself enough time to breathe and rest. Now, another thing that we often go through, one moment, I'm just going to take a sip of my water. Thank you. One of the things that we often go through is financial insecurity. Now, the finances are not always there for us mothers, or us single mothers. We may be working a lot of jobs, but we're behind on the bills. We're behind on so many things, and not only that, even if you're upkeeping these things, things happen. Our children get sick. We need to get them medication. We need to put them into programs and active school activities that so many of our children lack from going out of, because we don't have that extra income coming in, and we don't know how to make those extra income. Yes, a lot of resources around us, depending on where you live, you have access to free resources. The government is really good with helping you guys with or helping us with finding, paid programming that are out there that the children can go once you provide them, sorry, with documentation and proof to show your your yearly income, right? But so often we still have challenges there because, if it's not in a close range, then we have to think about transportation. We have to think about providing, the extra food that we need to provide. So financial insecurities often get to us, and it's again the lack of financial support or the lack of financial resources on how to, create and develop, you know extra streams of income. All of these things, guys, that I'm mentioning here today are things that I help walk you through, help provide and point you into the directions where you are able to, help yourself and create ways to and solutions in order to, level up, or order to, balance yourself out, or to take yourself out of the red zone. Now, number four is ongoing conflict with the ex. Now, this is probably a universal issue because, as simple as we may feel, and as under control we may feel that we do have, the fact of the matter is, guess what? You're experiencing bullying, you're experiencing manipulation, you're experiencing times when they may withhold their child support, if not on a continuous basis, then every now and then. And you're experiencing them violating the agreement that you guys had. If you had decided to agree upon certain terms upon your separations and how you guys are going to co-parent, or whether you did or not, these are some things that tend to affect our day to day, and we want to fall in alignment with finding how to eliminate so you can delegate. And if someone is even stressing you out, if someone is pouring into you, then guess what I had to do for myself, because I was in the environment where so many people were just so negative, so many people were just constantly trying to manipulate me, and because I'm very strong minded and they want to push me to the limit, right? I had to definitely sacrifice, and eliminate them, because, at the end of the day, you weren't helping anyways. At the end of the day, you weren't being supportive and encouraging anyways. So there was no reason for me to have conversations with you. And these things worked for me when my children got of age to be able to speak for themselves. So it's not a technique where you keep your child away from the parent. No, you leave open access and availability for them to get in touch with the child, but you leave no room for access for them to get in touch with you, unless it has to do with an arrangement. And you must learn to cut things off, people. Learn to cut and go through. That's what I say, cut and go through. I have the gift of giving, yes, but really I have the gift of blocking and cutting off. I don't play when it comes to that, because at the end of the day, if you're stressing me out, if you're not helpful for me, but you want to be manipulative, or you want to become a bully, but you're not unaware of what you're really doing, but I am aware that it's affecting me in a certain way, right? I have the power, and so do you. You have the power to take charge and take command of that conversation, of that situation, of that circumstances. Take as much control and power as you have, because there's certain things we have no control of, right? And that's we don't know when our children are going to get sick, right? We have no control of the bills we have control of the bills. We know how to eliminate certain bills that we don't need for a certain time. But we have control over certain things, and then there's other things that we have no control of. So you need to identify the things that you can prevent, that you can stop, until you get to a healthy place, because again, it's all about your mental health. And if you're not at your best, if you're not at a good mental health, guess what? Who's being affected? Yourself and the children around you, especially if you're the primary parent, right? Your children are being affected. You're teaching them lessons that cannot be unlearned unless they identify what these things. You're tapping into their subconscious and planting these subconscious seeds in them that they are not going to be able to identify unless someone points it out, or unless they educate themselves on it, right? So number 4, again, ongoing conflict with an ex. Learn how to eliminate or create less conflict, right? You don't have to always pick up that phone. You don't always have to respond to the negative texts and the negative messages. You don't always have to reply back to the ignorance that pops up and shows up in your face. Now, number 5 is lack or weak support of network. Let me tell you, you know what? We need to network. There is usually the saying is birds of a feather flock together. You have a set of friends who are also going through the same situation. You have a set of friends who have children who are different age stages. So humble yourself enough to maybe even receive, instead of buying yourself a new crib or a playpen, get a gently used one by a close friend or family that you know. Get a set of support where you guys can take turns in babysitting, or hanging out, or playing each of the children. You guys can have cookouts, join group together, get a group of friends where you guys can come together, do a little potluck, and cook up something big. That way, you're ease, you're socializing. The children minds can be off of your reality, and they can run around and play, and so can you can sit around amongst a circle of girlfriends, and you can just have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, whatever it is. But guess what? You're tackling many different things in that aspect, in terms of your food is being provided, a healthy and safe atmosphere is there, you have a stream of support that is there, encouragement, and you get to laugh. Laughter is so good for the soul. So it doesn't make sense staying home and crying, being in your bed and being depressed. It doesn't make sense being home and being so emotional that you can't, you don't even want to make it to the other day. You don't know how you'll make it to the other day. So it's good to get a circle of support, because lack of support will definitely bring you down into deep depression and again anxiety and things like that, right? Now, one of the other things, that's number 6, is history of mental or physical abuse. History of abuse in any form is unhealthy, and this can be verbal abuse, this can be emotional abuse, this can be physical abuse. There's so many forms of abuse that we tend to neglect, because we ourselves too, we are lashing back, but we're not realizing that what they're speaking into our life, because the power of our tongue is so powerful that we speak life and death. And if you are not canceling the things that other people are saying onto you, or speaking to you and speaking into your life, guess what? You are receiving and claiming that into existence. So you have to get into the habit of learning how to cancel the things that are being said that you don't have ownership. You don't have to believe everything that's been said to you. No, you're not a bad mother. No, you are not a whore, a slut, a bitch, excuse my languages, but that's reality. This is what is being said. You're not a deadbeat mother. You're doing the best that you can, and the best that you know how. You're doing an awesome and amazing job raising that child or those children, right? Because you're doing it on your own. There is no help, there is no support, and you are a creator. You have created these beautiful babies, and you have created resources around you, whether it be big, small, or little. It's like you have done it. You've been doing it. You do this, okay? So let me tell you, I want to congratulate you. I want to celebrate you, because you are on the move to continue into, and just the fact that you showed up today, just the fact that you're watching this video and and you're listening to this replay, I do want to commend you. I do want to celebrate you, because you know what? There is so many other things that you can be doing with your time, but you chose to say, you know what? I'm going to be a student today. I'm going to take heed, and I'm going to listen to what is being said about, how I can, have a better mental health with, with dealing with my situation. You want a better outcome in your life and in your situation, right? Yes, yes. So that was the sixth. So I'm gonna give you a bonus one, and the bonus one is judgments. How many of us deal with judgments? Oh my goodness. Like, I am a person, like, being the fact that I'm a single mother of three, and I have three different baby fathers, and I really hate the baby mama, baby father words, but I have three different fathers for my children who has manipulated me and left me with definitely lack or no support, right? So I really had to figure it out. But I had to deal with the judgment, and the biggest judgment came from me. I kept on judging myself. I kept on judging my situation. I kept on thinking other people were judging me. I didn't like the fact that all of them had three different last names. So I judged myself. And I was the hardest person on myself. And it took me so long. It took me so long to get out of that situation, to get out of that mindset, to know, what, it's okay. Because in my mind and in my life, I know my situation. I know that these were long-standing relationship. I know that I received, guess what? I received rings from every one of these people with intentions. I was actually married to one, and that's because of my mindset at a very young age. I wasn't prepared and I wasn't ready, and I didn't realize my role as a wife and a mother at that time. So the easiest thing that I knew how to do was walk away and to leave that situation. And then eventually down the line, I just, I started making more and more wrong choices and attracting and really internalizing so much that, I was affecting myself mentally and emotionally. And I started attracting individuals, the man in my life that was really insecure, that really had no respect for women, that was really manipulated, or an opportunist. And because I'm always strong-minded, I'm always a go-getter, I always had something to give. But the thing is, they had nothing to give me but a baby. And even though I knew that, somehow I found comfort in just being around somebody who was there at the time, sharing time and space with me. And it got carried away, and guess what? I believe that I needed their DNAs to create the wonderful and amazing children that I have. So I no longer have to deal with the fears that I had in my head and the judgment that I kept on putting on myself. I no longer have to deal with that. So, but away from the judgment that we have ourselves, we put on ourselves, we have judgment from society. There's a stereotype that we have to deal with as a single parent. And so many people don't realize that, whether it's by choice or by circumstances, they don't care to hear the circumstances. They don't care if you're a single mother because maybe you were going through some kind of abuse, and it was an unhealthy abuse, physical, emotional, however the abuse is, and you had to break free and run for your life. They don't care if you were they just look at you not making great choices. Whatever society norm is, you don't fall under it, because guess what? Now you are a single parent, right? You how about the judgment from the teachers? The judgment from the teachers. So many things, we're in a society where there is a two-parent homes. And a lot of people are talking about mama days and father's days, like especially events like that. And it's just so many things that we have to go through, and some teachers may not understand and use judgment or cast judgment upon us. How about when we're going on social assistance, when we need a little government help, or we need to turn to the government or different resources where we need to get some help, and they look at you, they assume that your children or your child is from the same relationship that you're married into, or you're separated from, but really you have separate fathers and things like that. They kind of look at you down, like, what's wrong with you? Like, why? I remember when I was going through, when there was a time that I had to depend on social assistance, and I had to present the birth certificates of my children. Oh, they all have different names. Oh, they got different fathers, so what, so this father doesn't help and that father doesn't help. They tend to look down on you. You know, they can't say a lot of the things that they really want to say or that they're really thinking, but you can just look. You can see that there are things going, wheels are turning in their heads. You can just see that, you know what, they're not thinking very highly of you. You can just see that they're being very judgmental. And how about the other parents, right? The other parents of your children's friends, or even the other parent of your child, or even the grandparents and things like that. Parents on a whole that really don't understand what we as single mothers go through. All of these things that I mentioned, the six things, and the one bonus that I just gave you, these are all things that affect us in our, you know, as single mothers. And it can affect our mental health in ways that, again, we go through anxiety, we go through depressions, we go through so many, you know, so many things. We lack of sleep. We don't know what to do with ourselves. So, you know, here's some solutions. These are just some solutions. It's not all solutions. There's so many more that you can do and you can apply in your life, but here are some solutions that I came up with that I also implement into my life, and it definitely helps. So I have 3 things that you can so far, you know, try to apply, or, you know, try to improve your situation on. So we talked about how financial distress, you know, lack of financial support, you know, can cause financial distress. And one of the things that you can apply in your life is just having good financial management. We need to learn to manage our money. We need to learn how to, you know, budget ourselves, and learn how to really just, you know, sacrifice some of the things that we can cut off in our daily spending or our monthly spending just for a moment, right? And really manage and budget our way to success, right? And again, this is something that I definitely help individuals with. Affordable housing can definitely help. Now, if you're in a situation where you're about to be homeless, if you're paying a rent or a mortgage and you can no longer afford it because now the second support is no longer there, and you know how we do, we find our way times in situations like that. We have to relocate. We have to find a place that may cost us less. You know, one of the things that we can do, again, turn to Ontario, affordable housing. And affordable housing can be beneficial to us, but so often, so many of us get stuck in there, and it can, in that way, it can hinder us and work against us. I utilize Ontario housing or affordable housing to help level myself up. I was always in the mindset of, I was raised in affordable housing, but I had a mindset where I did not want to be there, but I found myself there because when we talk about generational curse, it follows you if you do not put your foot down and take a stand, and you delete that from your life. So my goal was always to stay out of the things that, you know, were so familiar to me spiritually, or, you know, we don't realize some of the things that's happening in our lives are just spiritual bondages, right? So I identified a very long time ago that there are certain cycles that are reoccurring in my family, and I did not want to apply that into my life. So, but then when I started seeing them into my life, I immediately took action and figured out ways on how I can take myself out of it. So being in affordable housing, again, I found myself in it, but instead of I allow it to, you know, really hold me down and hold me there, because you can really be stuck there, I utilize it to my benefit. And one of the things, you know, while living in affordable housing, I had to sacrifice. I really had to sacrifice, because while you are working and doing your thing, you know, it's geared to income, or they look at the finances that are coming in, but you can also make extra income, you know, that, you know, cash on demand, so to speak, right? figure out how to work the system that is working for you at the moment, and find ways to, and those extra money that you're coming in, find ways to save it again, and which it applies to the first step that I told you was the money management part, right? So you can babysit, so you can rent out one of the rooms that you're doing, just to name a few. If you're skilled in with your hands and you know how to do hair, and it's something that you do as a side hustle anyways, then make sure you utilize that money properly and appropriately to get yourself out of. Your goal should always be to level up in every area of your life as you grow. Growth and development at all time. Now the third thing that I want to talk to you about is building a support system. We discussed this already as I was talking about the 6 or 7 things that can help or cause with our mental health. Now, it's, build a support system, talk to people so that you can express and release some of the things that are going on in your mind. Talk to counselors or doctors. Talk to your doctor and let him know that, you know what, you need to speak to someone. That's one of the things that I had to do. I had to go to a counselor. And when I went to that counselor, you know what they said to me? Child, there's nothing wrong with you. And you don't have to have something wrong with you in order to go and speak to a professional. They just are equipped with tools and strategies to help you to deal with the things that you are going through, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's suicidal thoughts. It's not always about medicating yourself. There's always natural and holistic things that you can apply. There's also other things like meditate, taking time to yourself, journaling, getting those thoughts out in your mind so that you can really improve yourself. If it gets to the point where you do need medication, which I was also there, they gave me medication for depression, they gave me medication for anxieties, they've given me medication for so many different things that I was struggling with. And it's okay if you need to take them at that time, but again, I'm not of the mind frame of just constantly living on the things that is given to me. It's always about trying to get out of my struggles, trying to get out of my circumstances, always trying to create and recreate new things in my life. I will not settle. It is not in me, and it's not a part of me, and it's not for me, right? So I don't want you guys to get into this habit of settling either. Find ways. It's always about solutions. And even though someone else, a professional, may tell you one thing, who knows you best? You know you best. And I knew myself. I definitely knew who I was. I knew who I am. I knew who I belonged to. And I belong to a king. I belong to a mighty king. I belong to God who is able. I was created to be a healer. I was created to be prosperous. I was created to profit. So until I was able to hold on to what is owed to me and believe the things that I was taught, and I was able to learn the new things that I needed to learn for myself to renew my mind so that I can now take ownership of the things that actually belongs to me. Now, another thing I want you to do when it comes to building support, be resourceful. Okay, so what if you spend $150 a week, or $50 a week for groceries? Listen, utilize the food banks, especially if you are living. Remember what I said? I had it written down. Most of us, most single mothers in Canada are living in poverty, right? So therefore, guess what? Your income tax shows that you're living under or below the poverty line, right? So to speak. So utilize those things when you are going through it. Go to the food banks, okay? The food banks are not awful. The food banks are foods that people literally and actually donate good food. They go to the grocery stores. Yeah, I know when you go to the grocery store, you see boxes lined out. They're collecting food to go to food banks, to donate to food banks. Schools are collecting foods to go to do it. So these are foods that are healthy, that are good. And what do? You go there and you buy the thing. You get the things that you want and that you may need inside of your house. And then with the money that you have for groceries, you can now cut that in a percentage, cut that in half, do whatever, and you go out and you buy the fresh things that you're going to need, the fruits, the vegetables, and keep up with those things in your household, and you still be left over with finances. So these are things that you can, again, support. Utilize the food banks and shop with the rest. Okay? So thank you again, each and every one of you. I hope this you find this valuable. I hope that, and you know what, I don't hope, I pray you find this valuable. I pray that, this time that we spent with each other was educational for you and informative nonetheless, that you are able to now implement these things. Again, if you want to connect with me, go send me an email at info.smileempress@gmail.com, or follow me on Instagram at smile.empress, smile.empress. So smile.empress, and I simply help mothers, help single mothers to live their blessed and prosperous life, whether it's spiritual growth, health, growth and development in their personal life, help them with starting up a business and being resourceful and using what is in your hand, turning your passion into purpose. I want to help you to reclaim your power back and rule your kingdom. So if you are that individual who are going through some of these things that we talked about here today, if you're that individual who's looking for a life transformation and you want to change your mind, your body, and your bank account, I can help you to do that, because again, I help individuals to get their body back in shape as well, because I'm all about health and wellness of your mind, your body, and your bank account. So I do have some recommended things that you can take, natural things that you can take for yourself. I do have some programs and soul work that I like for you to apply in your life and to help to better your situation, better your mindset, and get a better solution or outcome, right? But you have to be able to invest in yourself. It's time investment, it's financial investment. These are the things that we need to get into, and figuring out ways that how we can implement and budget towards getting ourselves better, right? So you can go ahead and DM me, message me, send me an email, and we can figure out ways on how we can help you to get to where you want to be, help you to create ways that you can grow and build your legacy. Thank you, mamas. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Peace, love, and light.